how to overcome the fear and anxiety of publishing online, putting yourself out there, and being a personal brand. All right, my name's Luke. I'm the co founder at Brave Brand, and our mission is to help you build a brave brand. Simple as that. One of the most common things that I see a lot of my clients come to me with is they struggle with a lot of fear of putting themselves out there, anxiety around whether things are going to work out or if everything's going to end tomorrow. We're going to go into global World War III, all of this type of stuff. Now, this is also coming from a place of like, I have just come out of a period of intense anxiety and fear myself, just to be perfectly honest. And so, what I'm going to be sharing in this video is the realizations I've had throughout this period, but also through other periods of my life where I have gone through these intense periods of fear, anxiety, and how I've overcome them. And it's a weird thing. Like, it always feels like I have these breakthroughs and I get to this place of power and bravery, and then something happens and I sort of fall back into old habits. But I think what I'm starting to get better at now over time through understanding what I'm going to show you in this video is being able to really shorten the amount of time I'm in those negative feelings and I'm trapped in fear, trapped in anxiety. It's a lot shorter than it used to be now. Whereas actually my baseline used to be that all the time. All right, and so how can we actually live more in bravery and live more in power as opposed to living in fear and anxiety all the time? And so, when it comes to things like business, when it comes to things like relationships, if you are in a fearful and an anxious space all the time, you're just going to create more and more of that in your life. And so if you're someone who is driven and you want to accomplish things in life and you want to do cool things, then you have to sometimes, and most of the times, get out of your own head. All right. And so I think a huge issue that the world faces right now is fear, right? A lot of people are stuck in fear. I remember through the COVID period, the UK government were printing off posters of dying old people, like, oh my God, don't leave your house because you're going to kill people. All right. And so advertising, marketing, government propaganda really, really feeds off fear. All right. And the reason that happens is because a fearful population is extremely easy to control. And so if someone is in fear or a population is in fear, you could tell them to jump and they'll say, how high? And so if you want to be a sovereign individual who is able to take control of their business, take control of their life, their health, their wealth, all of those cool things, you have to learn to step into your own power and your courageous bravery and be a person who resonates and feels awesome. All right, you got to feel awesome to create awesome results. I think it's a story that's probably worth sharing is when I first started to move into personal branding and creating content, I used to shit myself putting myself on camera. Like, I really used to like crap myself because I would constantly be afraid of judgment from others, people laughing at me. And in most instances, it was a couple of people who used to go to school with me who would keep popping up in my mind, all right, randomly, because they weren't even in my life at that stage anymore, which is quite funny. And it wasn't until I started to really dive into some spiritual books and I started to learn about things on how your mind works and how your soul works on a spiritual level. All right. And one book that was incredibly profound and impactful for me was The Course of Miracles. And so in The Course of Miracles, what ends up happening is there's a 365-day workbook where every single morning and every single evening you're given these phrases, almost like mantras, to repeat to yourself and exercises throughout the day. So it's almost like a 5 to 10 minute meditation in the morning and then finishing off the night with a 5 to 10 minute meditation. And so what I would do, I was like, I committed to that process. I was like, cool, I'm going to finish this workbook, all right? And the reason was because I'd just gone through a terrible breakup. I was really stuck and struggling inside of myself. Like, I was really having a tough time in life. And I think what ends up happening is that you almost have to go through these tough times to force you to make a change and to do something differently. And what I had been doing previously to that is if I was afraid, if I was anxious, I would try and medicate the feeling. So I would go and I would smoke some cigarettes or smoke some weed or drink alcohol, go out and party, maybe watch some movies, play PlayStation, do all of these things to try and numb the pain. And so what I was doing was actually exacerbating the feelings that I was having, as opposed to really focusing on what I was taking in. And so that's what we'll talk about very shortly. But to just finish that story is like that process that I went through, it basically rewired my brain and rewired the inputs that I was putting into my mind, into my soul, and into my body on a daily basis. And so what we need to understand is that the anxiety and the fear we feel is a result of something. It's a result of a cause. It isn't just something who you are. You're not your fear. You're not your anxiety. And the fear and the anxiety is actually caused by something. And so if you want to do a bit of research into this, looking at cause and effect, all right, causation is like an action. It's something happening. It's something you think about. It's something you do. It's something that actually has an opposite reaction, which is the effect. So a cause could be something like someone saying something to you. They say something really nice to you. That's the cause, and the effect is you feel good after it. All right, and a negative example of that is someone could say something really mean to you, and that makes you feel terrible. So the cause is that input of someone saying something, and the effect is the feeling you get from it. And so going through that whole Course in Miracles process on a daily basis, what ended up happening was the thoughts that I was thinking every single day for 365 days completely rewired the inputs I was taking into my body. All right, and I'll talk about it in a second. Was the number one thing that it taught me throughout that process was that we need to learn to accept others and let go of judgment. And so what I realized I was doing constantly was I would see people out in the street, I would see people's content, and I would judge them. I would be like, oh my goodness, that's so cringe. Why is that person talking about that? Why is that person wearing that thing? Why does that person look like that? Ugh, like what a weirdo. And so I was doing that for years, all right? Literally the majority of my life is a very judgmental person. And so when I went through this Course of Miracles process where it taught me about letting go of judgment and accepting other people based on the premise that we are a reflection of each other, we're mirrors of each other, and I started accepting people, and I look at people who were wearing crazy things, and I would actively go on social media and be like, wow, that's a brave person. That's not a cringe person, that's a brave person. And so what ended up happening was when I would go on social media and when I would post my things of me, I would let that judgment that I had started to fall away. And so what I realized was the way that I was perceiving the world, the way I was judging the world was actually me judging myself. And so anytime I would go to publish my work or to create things or to wear something that I really wanted to wear, I stopped feeling self-conscious. I stopped feeling like people were watching me. I stopped feeling paranoid, all right? Because I used to walk in the streets of London and feel paranoid all the time that I looked stupid. What the hell? And the reason I felt like I looked stupid was because I thought everyone else looked stupid. Crazy, right? And so the moment I was able to let go of that judgment, let go of that criticism of other people, I let go of it myself. And so I was able to feel less fear and feel less anxiety. Now that's one example when it comes to judgment and the fear of publishing. But the point of the story I'm trying to get across here is that we experience the effects of the actions and the thoughts we think and the things that we do. We experience the effects of that. And so right now, if you're feeling anxious, fearful, and depressed, there's a high chance that there are things that you're doing on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, and things that you did last week that you're feeling the effect of now. And so our bodies, our minds, and our souls are actually a system. And if you put crap into that system, you're going to get crap out. But if you put gold and beauty and positivity into that system, you're going to get that times 10. You're going to get great feelings. You're going to feel awesome. You're going to feel accepted. And you're going to raise your level of consciousness. And so the example that I'm just going to show you right now is this of a fearful and anxious person. All right, and we've broken it down into three core sections, or whatever you want to call elements. Let's call them the soul, the mind, and the body. And so this person right now feels fearful and anxious. And there's a high chance that the reason this person feels fearful and anxious is because the person on a soul level is doing things that they hate. They have negative relationships. Potentially they're working without purpose. They might be isolated in their life. They might listen to a lot of negative music like rap and do this horrible crapping stuff. You know, if you listen to crap music all the time, your soul is going to feel terrible. All right, and if you're inputting into your mind, watching the news all the time, scrolling on X all the time, judging other people, complaining, gossiping, doom scrolling, you're busy, you've got negative language patterns, you're putting all of that into your mind. And in your body, if you're eating processed crap, if you're exercising too little, if you're exercising way too much, you're not spending time in nature, you're not getting sunlight, you're getting a lack of sleep, you're putting crap into your body. And so what ends up happening is when these are your inputs, these are the outputs you feel. All right, so you put crap in, you get crap out. If you do those things on a soul level, you are highly likely going to be feeling depressed. If you're doom scrolling all the time, if you're complaining all the time, if you're judging everyone, you're going to feel afraid like I did. And if you're feeling anxious and there's blocked up energy inside of yourself, there's a high likelihood that you're not looking after your body, you're not putting good quality inputs into that system. All right, and so if we look at our body like a system, you can see, well, there's no surprise you feel anxious and fearful if this is what is going in. All right, now you might have like some of the body stuff locked in, but if the mind side of things is not locked in, the entire system is going to struggle as a result, because we need to remember that, you know, we're a holistic being. We are made up of soul, mind, and body, and we're not just a body, for example. And so we need to look after our mind, our soul, and our body in order to feel brave and powerful. All right, so let's look at scenario number 2. Now, this is someone who is a brave and powerful person. This is just a prime example of someone who is feeling awesome. They've got these things working in harmony with each other. And so the inputs of a brave and powerful person are doing things that they love, all right? They make sure that they spend their days working on projects that fill them up. They have healthy relationships. They spend time with people who big them up, who make them feel good. They don't spend time with people who drain them. All right, they work with purpose. They have a community that supports them, and they listen to positive music, high vibrational music, which is so underrated, I think, on a soul level. And then when it comes to mind, you know, acceptance of everyone. When you accept everyone, you accept yourself, and you are free to be a happy person. You know, this person spends time resting and recovery and recovering, understands that rest and recovery is such an important input into having a healthy mind. All right, they spend time in nature, they spend time creating, they embrace being slow, like slowness. It's not all about busy, rush. All right, they also have positive language patterns. So, you know, less swearing, less complaining, less saying, oh, that's crap, or oh, I'm tired, or, you know, I feel or anxious, or I am, these negative blanket statements, which some people say subconsciously, often. All right. So can you start to reprogram your mind by telling yourself that, you know, you're healthy? I'm immune. I remember through COVID, I always used to say to myself, I'm immune from COVID. COVID can't affect me. And I really believed that. And I never got COVID. I haven't got COVID once, right? And so I'm not afraid of that, because I truly believe that, and I've been able to program my mind through the inputs of thought that I was giving it. All right, so there's thought inputs, there's soul inputs, and then there's body inputs. So eating healthy, intuitively moving and exercising. So exercising based on what you feel you want to do. Getting enough sunlight, all right, sleeping 7 to 8 hours a day. Going and doing sauna and ice, like doing things that make your body feel awesome. And so when you put those inputs into your body, right, you're really cropping up and creating a beautiful system to create beautiful outputs. All right, so when you focus on good inputs, you get great outputs. All right, so on the soul level, you're listening to positive music, you're in healthy relationships, you're going to be feeling happy. All right, on a mind level, you're going to start feeling brave when you have positive language patterns, when you rest, when you accept, when you stop judging. All right, you're going to start feeling confident when you eat healthy, when you train intuitively, when you sleep. Oh my goodness. You know, I'd been sleep deprived for the majority of my life, and no wonder why I felt like an anxious wreck in my corporate job. I never used to get enough sleep. All right, and so that is how we create a system in our bodies, in our souls, in our minds that actually gets us to this state of feeling brave and powerful. And so the moral really of the story is, if you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling depressed, if you're feeling down and fearful, ask yourself and do an honest assessment of what are the inputs that are coming into your body, your mind, and your soul, instead of trying to put a plaster on the feelings. All you're doing is trying to go to the effect and change the effect as opposed to going to the root cause of the issue that you're facing. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. Cause and effect. All right, so ask yourself, in the system of you, to feel more brave and powerful, to feel less judgment, to feel more confident in yourself, and to feel less fearful, what can you do on a body, mind, and soul level to elevate yourself and to create a beautiful system that supports your goals, supports your life, and makes you feel like a flippin' epic, beast, powerful person? All right. If this helped, please drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Like the video, do all of those cool things, and I'll see you on the next one.